Let's get rid of this light oak orange trim and take it to something more modern like this.
So we are on day number 3 of my mom's bedroom renovation. I am downstairs in her basement and I'm about to get the trim taken care of. So we pulled off all the trim in her bedroom, as you've already seen, and I'm gonna show you how to go through, finish up the trim. So you're gonna need a pair of pliers, and pretty much with all of the trim nails, you're gonna wanna take a pair of pliers and you're gonna wanna hold onto it, get a good grip, and if you kind of just turn to the side, it should just pop right out of there for you. And as soon as they're popped out, you know, you're gonna want to put the nail to the side because we won't need that anymore. We're gonna fill the holes with spackle, we'll sand them down, and then we're gonna paint them white. So we're gonna do all that today. I've got a lot to get through, so let's go ahead and get to it.
One thing I will say about doing a project like this is it's pretty tedious. It really does take a long time, especially when your trim has as many trim nails or brad nails as this trim did. It takes quite a bit of hand strength and a lot of patience.
So I just wanted to show you guys real quick. Some of these nails that were used to hold up this trim are not trim nails. I mean, look how big this is. So if you ever come across this and you can't pull it out with a pair of pliers, definitely just tap on the backside here, tap on the sharp end of the nail with the hammer, and tap it out softly. You might have some damage to the front. If you do, again, just try to go as soft as possible and then pry it out with a hammer, and then you'll just have to fill it in with wood filler or spackle. But I'm not gonna be able to pull these out with pliers, so definitely have to use the hammer in this situation.
I just want to talk about the use of spackle here for a second. Generally, spackle is used for drywall application, so filling holes in your drywall. I actually didn't have any wood filler on hand, and instead of going out to buy wood filler to fill these trim holes, I just decided to use the spackle that we already have. One nice thing to know about spackle is it actually generally dries quicker than wood filler, and it's gonna dry white. So I figured since I was already planning on doing a light sand on the trim before painting, that spackle would be an okay solution for filling the trim holes, and it worked great. For sanding the trim, I bought 80 and 120 grit sandpaper. The point of sanding the trim was not to completely take the current finish off. I more just wanted to provide better adhesion for the paint.
Okay, let's talk about painting really quickly, especially when just painting in general, but especially when it comes to any sort of woodwork or trim. It's okay to go light on the paint and do more than one coat. I would generally recommend, especially with the cabinet, door, and trim paint. This is a paint that I'm pretty familiar with. I've worked with quite a few occasions. I would definitely say this is gonna need at least 2 coats. Definitely a marathon, not a race. So just be very particular. You wanna do long brush strokes, and you really wanna go with the grain of the wood. So see how I'm going like this? You really want it to look like a nice finished paint. You want it to dry nice and finished. You want the streak lines, if any, to look like they're intentional, like they're meant to be there. Give it a nice feathered brush. The first coat never looks the best. The main thing that we're going for here is just to get a base coverage, and then also, like I said, you want to have your stroke down and you don't want any paint building up. You just want a nice light coverage of the trim. And then once you go in with the second coat, you'll just really tell how much it'll be able to cover it up. The second coat is gonna look really good. Just wanna mention, do not come at me for painting this trim white. I know that there's some people out there that just do not believe in painting over trim, but I did it in my house. My mother asked for it. She wants her trim white. Also, you just give your mom what she wants. You guys take care of your mamas out there. She should be the most important woman in your lives. She deserves whatever she wants in this world. My mom said she wanted a bedroom renovation, and here I am pulling off trim, sanding it down, and painting it for her. So I'm gonna go ahead and start installing the trim around the window. Before I install each piece, I'm just gonna give the edges a light sand. Sometimes after you get done painting, you'll have a little bit of buildup, so it's good to sand those off. I just have a little piece of sandpaper. This is probably 220 grit or higher at this point. Gonna make it so the edges are real smooth. Doesn't have to be anything too crazy. This can go pretty quickly here. And we're gonna start with the bottom. This is actually the left. And I can tell which ones I have because I have each piece labeled on the back that says window bottom, so I know that that's where this one needs to go. It's definitely a good idea to label your trim, and I'll walk you through that in just a second on my process of how I label pieces of trim after I take them off the walls. This is just so everything fits pretty cohesively when you go to put them back on. It's looking pretty good. Okay, so this one's gonna go here. I'm gonna need to go get the air compressor. I feel like I should paint this too. I don't know if I really want to pull the paint out again, but I feel like I should. This is gonna look so good. So I just couldn't not pull the paint out. I don't want to half-ass this, and I want it to look good for a really long time for my mom. So here we are. I'm gonna paint this little piece. Now this piece being white is going to help the transition between the window frame and the trim look a lot smoother. It's gonna be all very cohesive. Okay, and then we're just gonna continue sanding and going all the way around the window. This is what happens when you have too high of PSI in your brad nailer. Also, it could have been this. I'm assuming this is the old trim nail. This is the new one that I just put in. I'm assuming there's some damage, and then also too high of PSI. Wow. Looking very nice. Wow. Looking very nice. And that window is pretty much complete. Again, I'm gonna have to go through and fill the trim nail holes so you can't see them. So I told you guys I would tell you my system as far as taking trim off and labeling. So when you walk into a room, as soon as you walk into a room, the wall that's immediately on your left, you're gonna count wall 1. And that wall will go to the next wall, wall 2, wall 3, wall 4, and then obviously your window, on whichever wall, closet on whichever wall. And the first piece of trim that you pull off, so this right here would be wall 1, it's gonna be number 1. So wall 1, number 1. 1, number 1, and you can write wall 2, some of them do, some of my pieces do. This is wall 1 bathroom, and then I usually label the piece as it is, still the same. So I'll do left, top, and right. Wall 1, piece 2, and so on and so forth. And all of the pieces are labeled, and the important thing is you want all of the trim, the pieces of trim to go back in the same spot because they're cut for that specific spot. And everything will be cohesive, and you'll be wondering where, which piece of trim goes where. Okay, cool. I'll take this off.
holy cow, here's the final result from this project. I think this turned out absolutely amazing. With a little bit of time and patience, you can completely transform your trim and the entire look of your bedroom. I'm so excited at how this turned out, and it makes me so happy that I was able to do this nice thing for my mom. Let me know in the comments section what you guys think of this project and if you plan on trying it yourself. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.